In a world where extreme competition exists everywhere, what does it take to have success in your career and in life? Join me, Nirvana Chaudhary, as I sit down with some of the most successful individuals to discover the secrets to their success, what continues to drive them, and to hear a few exclusive stories in the process. What drives them and their success code, their mantra for making it bigger. I've got with me a former national tennis champion who then took his passion of sports and created Nepal's first Super League, wanting to make a difference in the overall youth development through sports, going to the most remote areas. I have with me Mr. Shreyans Karki. Hi Shreyans, how are you doing?
Thank you, Nirvana. I'm doing very good, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here on your podcast.
So Shreyans, being a national champion right at a very, very young age, and you've always got this passion towards sports, and you started Nepal Super League. So what really drives you? What drove you towards becoming a champion and that's having that same state of mind that you have now?
So, apart from tennis, I've always been very passionate about all sports in my life. And initially, I got this, I was a very sore loser. So every time I lost, whether it would be playing a simple table tennis on a dining table with my sister or something, I always used to have this anger after I lost. But what sports taught me was that in life sometimes you have to take loss in a good way and you have to learn from it. So my winning mentality was a lot of it actually came from sports. But if I had to pick one single factor that really drives me, it would definitely be a simple thing that I really believe in life, which is living in the moment. Because I believe whether it's my work, whether it's spending time with family, whether it's having fun with friends, I purely believe in being in that moment and enjoying that moment thoroughly no matter what you're doing.
Fantastic, living in the moment. But I think, Shreyans, a very important aspect of living in the moment is also having the right balance of work, life, family. How do you do that?
So, of course, at certain times when for example, now with Nepal Super League, that's keeping me really occupied, and it's kind of hard to keep that balance. But no matter how much time you're able to devote to a certain thing, as long as you're doing that with all of your heart, I think you will always make the best in your business, your family life, or anything else you thrive for.
You're absolutely right. While growing up, even I was told about this story of your life being like a tent. You need to know exactly what are the right poles that go into supporting that tent. And the most important tent that supports the center is what holds the tent is your overall well-being and state of mind. As well as a story of a marble in a jar, where your jar is your life.
Right.
And you decide on what are the most important marbles. Might be health for you, family for you, your career goes right at the bottom of the jar, and you fill up the jar. And I guess everything else is like the grain of sands that go in and just settle down, right?
Absolutely.
So what are your vision and aspirations? Why Nepal Super League?
So, like I said, I've always been very passionate about sports, and although I have been off tennis for a while, I always find time to play some sport or the other. So that's how passionate I'm about sports. And you being one of my role models, the one thing you've always told me is always think about doing something that leaves a legacy. And I believe with what we are doing with Nepal Super League, I think this is the right field for me where I wanted to make an impact. Like we've already mentioned, youth development through sports is our vision. And I think what we can do with this is something that will live on forever. So that's the reason why we are involved in the Nepal Super League.
How do you see the overall sports youth development in emerging countries like ours grow in the future?
So the major challenge with our part of the world is the infrastructure with sports. So I think where we are really lacking is the infrastructure, but hopefully with time, with infrastructure, with in all sports, I really hope that young people aspire to become a sportsman in the future, and I really hope, and we our entire motto with Nepal Super League is that we want young kids to think of playing in the Nepal Super League as a dream. So that's the entire goal.
Living in the moment is Shreyansh's success mantra. Is what it's something which he abides by and lives by. But what really drives you?
So there are a lot of factors that really drive me, but if I had to bring it down to that one single factor that really drives me, it is being happy doing what you're doing. So I would say it's very similar to living in the moment, but everything I do in life, I want to make sure that it is not affecting anybody in any negative way, and I hope that it makes people around me happy. So it's the happiness that I want to be. I want to be surrounded by people who are happy in their lives. So that is what really drives me.
Living in the moment, I guess learning from the past and planning for the future.
Absolutely, very well said.
So, Shreyansh, our country is a very young country. Majority of our population is below the age of 21.
Right.
What is your message to them?
So my message to them is first to identify something that they are very passionate about, then to have a vision for it, to dream big, start small, and constantly work hard to make sure they slowly get there. And I really believe that if you're really committed to something and you have a lot of passion for it, and then you have that determination to always strive towards that goal, then one day anybody can get there.
Very, very well said, Shreyansh. I completely agree with you, and these are definitely the key ingredients of a leader. I too believe that having the right energy levels, having the ability to energize your team and the ability to execute it with passion is key. And that's what I guess every entrepreneur, every leader, every visionary subscribes to.
Right.
That's their code that they live by. And Shreyansh, we all are continuously working towards making a difference. We're all working towards creating that legacy. And how important is being compassionate in your journey in this life?
I think living in the sort of country that we are in, where a lot of people are below the poverty line, a lot of people are struggling just to get their next meal. For people who get somewhere in life, it is very important to be compassionate. And as far as I'm concerned, like I always said, I have always wanted to give back in the field of sports. So I think with Nepal Super League, we leave a certain legacy behind, and it could probably be a means to daily ends for a lot of people in the future.
You're right.
And yes, it is absolutely important for people in our country, successful people, to be very compassionate and give at least something back to the society.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I mean, we live in this notion that making a difference can only happen if you've generated some amount of wealth or profits and you need to sign a check. But I think compassion goes beyond that. We all are blessed to be surrounded by amazing people and with people with amazing skills, and you yourself have certain skills driven by your passion.
Right.
And you must be able to channelize that energy into making a difference, which, except for your time and commitment and having that notion that you are making a difference in someone's life or a community life or a city's life without expecting anything in return. I guess that's very important for today's youth to realize as well, right?
I absolutely agree with you. You do not require a lot of wealth to be compassionate. You can simply, if you're a capable person, you can simply start very small. You can start by a simple thing like helping a blind man cross the road, which does not require any wealth. I absolutely agree. So I think it's mainly about having a sense of belonging to your community and wanting to make a small impact. It does not need to be something major, but every individual needs to have that little bit of compassion just to give back a little bit to the community.
Thank you so much, Shreyansh, for taking out time. We are really, really honored that you'd come for this show. May God bless you for whatever you're doing and you aspire.
It's been my absolute pleasure, and thank you so much, Nirvana.